Welcome to Treasure Valley Podcast. I'm Chuck. This episode is brought to you by LowerGentry Studios. LowerGentry Studios is a film production company that specializes in high-quality productions at a low cost. LowerGentry Studios has an upcoming web series titled Canyon County that you'll be able to see on YouTube this December. Subscribe to their channel to get notifications of new episodes of Canyon County as well as new episodes of this podcast. So today I sit down with Patti Finley. Patti is the president of IACT, or the Idaho Association of Community Theaters. IACT currently has a fundraiser taking place. To become a member or donate to their cause, visit www.idahoact.org and enjoy this podcast. Thank you. We're recording.
Hi.
Welcome. This is a good day for an interview. To be inside anyway. The smoke has rolled in. This is pre-recorded, and the smoke drives me bananas.
Yeah.
Does it bother you at all?
It bothers my eyes mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a nose thing going on. You know, I have like this sensitive. I was diagnosed with non-allergic rhinitis, which I thought I had allergies as a kid growing up all the time, but it's just basically my nose is bothered by anything.
Oh, great.
It plugs up regard pollen, smoke. So yeah. No allergies, just
poor you.
I know. It's awful, you know. First world problems.
Yeah.
So you came on to talk about community theater. Can you tell me what an IACT is?
It's the Idaho Association of Community Theater, no S on the end.
Okay.
Which is the state branch of the American Association of Community Theater.
Okay.
National organization, and we didn't have an Idaho chapter, so to speak, until 2014. Debbie Herzog, who's our vice president in charge of membership, she was passionate about starting a state ACT. And so she was very instrumental in getting it all going. And then I moved here 3 years ago, and I wanted to meet people. So when I saw there was a meeting, I went.
Cool.
And then I was there. So I volunteered to do some stuff. And so this August, I became the president.
Nice. That was quick. You moved your way up the ladder quickly.
I have a lot of background in community theater, and I have a lot of administrative background too.
Okay.
So that's why I think, and I have a lot of time because we're retired.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Good combination of things then.
It is. It keeps me busy. It keeps my brain engaged. And I have time to do things that other people might not have time to do because they have jobs and little kids. I'm a grandma, so I only have to play with grandchildren.
Right on. So I'm a huge fan of community theater. I came from I went to high school in a small town in South Dakota, Yankton, South Dakota. I'm sure you've heard of it. No.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So they had a community theater there. Lewis and Clark Community Theater. And so it gave me the opportunity. That was one of the first times I was able to play guitar in front of a large audience. I was 16. And so they were doing Grease. And in a small town like that, the community theater is kind of the entertainment. Outside of movie theaters, obviously. But
so did you get to play that A?
Yes, that was me. It's a good warm up musical performance because you know at 16 you don't have a lot of guitar experience.
Right.
But it was good.
Right. And it's a fun show to do.
Yeah. So what is your history with community theater?
My history is really long. I actually started acting when I was 8.
Okay.
And I did a few shows in the summer when I was 8 and 9, and then I was cast in a professional show.
Yeah.
So I became a member of Actors Equity Association, which is the union for stage actors.
Okay.
And so I couldn't do anything that wasn't union. So I actually got to do less theater because I was in school and they didn't have homeschooling. Back those in the dark ages, we barely had electricity. Just kidding. But anyway, so when I got married to my ex-husband, he was an actor on Broadway, and he said there was only room for one career in the family. So I canceled out my membership in the Screen Actors Guild and Actors Equity. And
where was this?
New York.
Oh, okay.
And after we moved to California and I left him, I was kind of resentful that I had to give up my passion while I was married to him. So when we separated, I got involved in community theater in Granada Hills, California, where I owned a real estate office.
Oh.
And, community theater is great because you get to satisfy the passion and the craving that you have to perform, but you can still earn a living doing something during the day.
Yes.
So I, in fact, met my current and final husband.
Oh, nice.
Doing a community theater production of Showboat 39 years ago, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that's how we met. And we had a wonderful showmance that I thought would be over once the show was over. And we've been married 36 years. So it worked. So I love community theater.
You owe it a lot.
I do.
That's nice of you to try to repay some of that back now, huh?
I owe my whole life to what I got involved in. Then after we moved from San Fernando Valley to Santa Clarita Valley in California.
Okay, where is that, like geographically? It's such a big state.
It's Los Angeles County. It's Southern California, but it's not Los Angeles City. It's about 30 miles from Los Angeles.
Okay.
Kind of like Nampa is to Boise, I think. And I was PTA president, and one of my PTA members said, "You really have to go and see this play, and it's a community theater play." So I did, and I wanted to get involved, but I was PTA president. So that kind of kept me pretty busy. And then I performed at a fundraiser, and a gentleman came up to me afterwards and said, I'm directing Fiddler on the Roof, and I'd really like you to audition for Golda. And so the timing wasn't right because I was really busy. But if I didn't try out, who knew when they were going to do Fiddler on the Roof again? So I did, and I was Golda, and I got 21 years experience with that theater group in California. I was president of the board for 4 years, on the board for 6 years, and I then became an employee. We bought a building, we renovated it while I was president, and after we were all finished with that, our executive director approached me to work at the theater, actually get paid. So I organized our youth programs there to begin with, and I taught and directed kids that were homeschooled. And I had the idea, why don't we invite local elementary schools to come and see our shows as field trips? Because usually, I don't know about Boise schools, but when they have any kind of theatrical presentation for the schools, the kids sit on the floor in the multi-purpose room where there's also a stage.
The gym, usually, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be nice to introduce those children to theater in a theater. And so I started a program where I taught homeschool kids a theater class, and we ended with 2 weeks of daytime performances that our audience was the elementary schools coming on field trips.
Oh.
And I moved up from that when our executive director ran for city council. I became the assistant executive director and ended up basically doing everything I needed to do to run the theater. I wrote the publicity. I did the scheduling of the rehearsal rooms, and so that there wouldn't be conflicts between artistic directors who wanted to rehearse here and somebody else was in their place. So I did that scheduling and the publicity, and I supervised the workshops and taught the homeschool workshop and just supervised our after-school workshops. And then as a volunteer, that I got paid for a little bit. It was a nonprofit, so you don't make very much money.
Yeah, I can just about imagine.
You do it because you love it. And then at night, I was a volunteer actor or director. And I directed over 45 shows there. I became like the musical director.
Yeah.
So I love musicals. My whole life is a musical. My husband and I sing things to each other all day.
Well, you can go ahead.
No,
if you want to sing for the rest of this interview,
we paraphrase.
I won't be able to keep up.
We paraphrase musical comedy shows to fit our situation at the moment, and so we kind of make up songs to melodies that we know. Anyway,
so those of you that think musicals aren't very realistic, they just need to look at your life, and
exactly.
You can give them proof that people do sing things to each other rather than speak.
When I moved to New York, one of my friends from high school was there in Bye Bye Birdie, and he and his roommate and I became BFFs, which they didn't have then. We were just really good friends. But we walked.
The acronym didn't exist, just to clarify. Right?
We ran down the streets of New York doing the step from The Wizard of Oz, singing, we're off to see the wizard. They were both dancers, so they would do the Gene Kelly spin around the light posts from Singing in the Rain.
Nice.
And I just thought,
you were never arrested?
No, we never were, actually.
That's good.
People kind of looked at us a little weirdly, but we had a great time, and I just, when you're involved in musical theater, you really kind of have a song for everything, because especially when you've been around as long as I have. So I love theater, and especially love musicals. And I wanted to get involved here, but not quite as involved as I was in California, because I am retired.
Yeah, you want some time to yourself.
Yeah, just to Facebook important things.
Yeah, 40 hours a week.
But
you can dedicate yourself.
I have met the best
media.
people here. Patti O'Hara being one of them, and Debbie Herzog the other. And they're on the board of IACT with me. And Patti had the idea to start the Actors Forum, and so we had been here maybe 2 months, and I heard about an Actors Forum, and I said to my husband, let's go. We got to meet some theater people. Otherwise, where do you meet people? You meet people at work, at school, at church, or by doing community theater.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy. I love it here. I've been really happy with the shows I've seen here, and I want to be as involved as I can for as long as I can. I feel that what we do is a gift to the community. We put in sometimes 3 to 4 months on a show, especially when it's a musical. You become part of a family. Your cast becomes part of your family. And you love what you're doing and you enjoy what you're doing, but it's also a gift to the community, so that people who can't afford prices at the Morrison Center when there's a touring show here can see a musical or a good comedy or drama at one of the local theaters. So we've adjusted really quickly, I think.
Yeah.
And we're loving it. We're really loving it here. I was in one show at Boise Little Theater in January of our first winter here. And it was Calendar Girls. And on the audition form, the director had written, how comfortable are you with nudity from 1 to 10? So I wrote 0. So I took a very small part, because there's no way I was going to, at my age, take my clothes off. Even though nobody really saw anything in the show, they're very carefully shielded. But
artistic, then, yes.
But I wanted to do it to meet people, and I did. So I did that show and
get to know them very well.
Very well. And some really, really good friendships developed from that. Even when you're not undressed, when you're sharing the room with other women who are, you get to be friends really, really quickly. And they're just, the people here are great. I love the people in Idaho. I'm so happy that we made this move. We moved because our sons live here and our grandsons. And my husband was a professional voiceover actor in California for over 30 years. And as everything got more youth-oriented, he was working less. And I said, well, if you're not going to work as much as you were working before, why do we have to live in L.A.? Why, And he said, you're right. So we moved, and we came here.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
And that theater that you were working at in California, was that part of this Association of Community Theaters?
They are members of IACT, but they were not members of a California group.
So what benefit are you providing the Idaho community theaters, because you kind of went into it a little bit. That I thought it was interesting when I went to the most recent Actors Forum,
right?
And it sounds like this kind of gives Idahoans the opportunity to bring their work up onto a national stage and get recognition that way. Yes,
that is one of the things that we do. Our purpose primarily is to foster and promote interest in community theater and instill in individuals an appreciation of drama and the performing arts. That's our mission. Go. Okay.
Mission statement. Verbatim.
And we have the Actors Forum, which was Patti O'Hara's brainstorm, that is an opportunity to network with people that are involved in other theaters. See, we didn't cross over in California. If you were involved in one community theater, it kind of became your place.
I hear they're very gang heavy down there in Southern California. Even the community theater crowd has their colors.
And there was another theater down the street from us, and it was like, you traitor, you're going to audition for a show there? But here there's a lot of crossover, which is really nice, and it's healthier, I think. And so the Actors Forum gives you a chance to meet people that are involved in other theaters and network and find out. Now that we've started the audition showcase, you get a chance to audition without really being nervous about getting the part.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a spontaneous audition. And we're starting to offer workshops. That was one of my primary desires in being involved in Idaho Association of Community Theater, was to offer workshops, because you do learn a lot when you're in a show. But if you can get people that are experts in different fields who have actually done it professionally, you get a much better grasp of what you need to do to be good at what you're doing, whether it's working on sets or performing or directing. You just being an assistant director to somebody, which is really the only requirement they have here before they'll let you direct, is you have to assistant direct. That really doesn't teach you so much about directing as you really need to know. You really need to know a whole lot more.
Who would you like to bring in? Have you done any of these trainings?
Okay. No. I have a couple of director friends from California that I'm going to try to get to come just for airfare and staying at my house. But we're starting the workshops now with Patti O'Hara's doing 2 on character development. One of them is Myers-Briggs.
Yeah, that's a personality, ENF,
and when
INFT or whatever it is.
When I was in real estate, I took seminars with that so that we could try to figure out our client's personality type so that we could adjust us to the person.
It's advertisers use that information a ton.
Yeah,
so for people that aren't familiar with the Myers-Briggs, it's like your personality type: introvert, extrovert, thinking versus feeling, and it's just like basically 4 binary options to kind of give a person an idea of your personality type.
Extrovert, spontaneous is what I.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's going to teach that workshop with regard to building a character that you're playing in a play. First, you'll determine your personality type, and then figure out how you can incorporate that into the character's personality type. I just did a show at Stagecoach a few months ago called Quartet. I will never do a show with only 4 people again. There were too many lines. I like shows with lots of people, so you don't have that many lines to remember. But they were British. They were supposed to be British aging opera stars. So, you have to do a little bit of research to try to figure some of that stuff out. I was in England, but I don't know anything much about that. We had a dialect coach come to work with us on our British accents. We had an Italian coach come because there's the final scene is an opera, and we had to learn how to pronounce the words. And then we had somebody from the opera come to work with us so that our lip syncing would be right.
So you lip sang?
Yeah. Oh, nice. Well, that's kind of a secret. Oops. But no, it's part of the show.
Cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah, because they're really all too old to sing like they used to sing, and they don't want to embarrass themselves, so they sing to one of their old recordings. But anyway, all those little steps helped me build my character in that then she's doing another one on character building where you make a book, you take a book that's already written and you put things in, or maybe even use a page from the book that you think define your character. So you make like a picture book for yourself. I worked with a young actor in California who had a journal that he used as his character development for every show. I mean, he went into his backstory, and whether he had siblings, whether he was happy, and wrote a whole novel, basically, which he's now turning into little plays that he's doing with the children at the theater there in California. It's really very interesting. And my husband is going to teach a workshop on voiceovers, even though this isn't a big voiceover market. There are some jobs available for you to do on local radio and television.
And there's actually an animation studio in town, I'm pretty sure. I met somebody that moved here from Boston. I can't remember the name of the studio, but she does animation. And so I would imagine that those the voiceover, because you can't. They don't have voices.
Yeah, no, right. My husband just flew back to California he worked on an animated feature, which is basically about global warming and ecology. And it's really an educational thing. And the portion that they did was so well received that they've expanded it to be a feature length. So he just went back to California to do the voice on the new parts that they had written. It's kind of like a dating game plot, and he's the host of the game show. And some of the contestants are, an oil person and a gas person, and all that. So anyway, so he's gonna do a voiceover workshop, and he's also going to do a workshop on auditioning for musical theater.
Oh,
because
very cool.
It is different than just auditioning from reading from a script. You don't even get to read from the script until you've passed the singing and dancing.
Yeah.
So that's what we're starting with. And I'll be in touch with some other people. And everyone on our board of IACT is going to start pursuing people they know who are experts in different areas to have them come and do the workshops.
And so if people are members of IACT, then they can just attend these? Or
no,
how
they'll
does that work?
attend it for less money.
Okay. How does somebody join?
IACT is really very easy. We just developed a website, and it's capital I, Idaho, capital ACT.org.
Okay.
And there's information on there for joining. It costs an individual only $20 a time, and it's a 2-year membership.
Okay.
So it's really very inexpensive. And theaters are $50 for their organization. And in order to participate in the state festival, they have to be a member. The theater has to be a member.
Is the festival kind of a competition then? Or?
Yes.
Okay. How does that work?
Every 2 years, the American Association of Community Theaters sponsors a state biennial theater festival. We encourage as many. The first year they did it here, which was before I moved here, I think they only had 3 theaters. Last year, when we did it in 2017, we did. I think we had 6 because we did 2 days of festival shows, and the theater can pick any show they've done for the year, or like the last time, Boise Little Theater entered a 1-act that they had not done in their season that they did specially for the festival. So you can do either way. Take an hour. You have exactly 60 minutes. You get 10 minutes to set up and 10 minutes to strike. And if you go over 60 minutes, they'll stop you. So one theater from Spokane did the first act of Addams Family, and that was just an hour. And they won the state and went on to regional. Regional includes Oregon, Colorado, Idaho, and Alaska, but that's kind of far, so they don't really come and participate much. Where was I?
So this happens
every 2 years.
And then
it's going to be in February of 2019.
Okay.
And so we invite all the theaters to participate in it, and some do and Some choose not to. But that's great to see what's going on in other parts of the state. And then if you go on to regional, what's going on in other states. Washington, Spokane, and Seattle, they have a lot of community theater.
I can imagine.
A lot. Oregon does as well. We do here, but they're not all members of IACT or AACT. And you don't have to be. But you get benefits with, for instance, you get a reduced rate on insurance for ASCAP if you're a member of AACT.
Okay.
What
is this? Everybody has to have insurance. It's something I don't even think about, but I'm sure the community theaters, so they have to buy insurance in case one of their lights falls down. And
This is not insurance. It's your membership. You can buy a license. You can buy a license for music that is covered by ASCAP, American Society of Composers.
Okay. So for musicals, yeah.
So not for musicals. This you can use for pre-show, intermission, stuff like that. Musicals, you pay your own royalties for. But it can be very expensive. The ASCAP license can be very expensive. And I think it's $300 something if you're a member of AACT.
Okay.
As opposed to maybe $600 to $1,000 for non-members of AACT. And yes, you can get your liability insurance for your theater and stuff through AACT at a reduced rate.
Okay.
And then IACT, we offer that because we're members of AACT.
Okay.
Okay. And then the theater festival, we are hosting the state festival again. We hope that maybe the next time in 2 years, one of the other cities in the state can host it, so people from the region don't only get to see Boise.
Yeah.
You know, they might want to come to Nampa, and they might want to do something in Meridian, but we have to get those theaters involved. So we're doing a membership campaign right now.
So how long? Tell me more about this membership campaign.
Well, we're just trying to get people to join.
Okay.
Our brochures are ready, and we can mail them out if somebody wants to request one. I can give you our email address too if you want me to email. If anyone wants me to email them one of the membership brochures, and it is capital I, Idaho, capital A, ACT, 2014 @gmail.com, because that's the year we started. IACT is 2014. So it's Idaho ACT 2014 @gmail.com.
And I can put a link on our website too, so people have your contact information. That's very cool.
And now we're fundraising to help pay for the festival, because hosting it is not cheap. We are using the Spec Center at Boise State once again, and the rent on that is fairly high. So for the first 2 years, we were able to put on a cabaret fundraiser at the Sapphire Room. And we did really well. We had a silent auction, just a little silent auction, maybe tickets to shows, stuff that we got donated. And we made enough money to do the first and part of the second festival. So with our second fundraiser, we made more money. But this year we couldn't get the Sapphire Room. And I contacted just about every venue that I could in the area that wasn't like really remote. And nothing was available to us at the same kind of deal that they support you at.
It's getting a little bit more expensive to get a place anymore.
Yes. And we can't, this isn't a high price kind of community. The actors are notoriously poor. So to get financial support, we came up with the Cabaret, which was just great and really successful, and we couldn't do it this year. So we, that's what I meant to bring. We're doing a no-show fundraiser.
Okay.
We're inviting you to not come. And if that's mildly attractive to you, you can donate $25 to stay home and watch TV. Or you can donate $50 to stay home in your pajamas and watch TV. Or you can donate $100 or $1,000. Those are the levels that we are putting on the invitation, which is just done at the printer right now.
Okay.
And we put a GoFundMe campaign up on Facebook.
Cool. So this is you're raising money right now to put on this
festival.
The festival. And how many theaters are going to present
We don't know that yet.
Oh,
we're
okay.
waiting to hear from everybody. We're hoping that we're going to have at least 6. But
oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a 6-hour. Would it be over a couple days?
Over a couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah, we would do, if we have 6, we'll do 3 each day. Because in the morning, they have to have like a tech rehearsal.
Yeah.
And so there's 3 shows doing tech rehearsals during the day. So then we can only do the performances in the afternoon. And then we have a post-festival reception where we give out the awards because we have adjudicators that we get through IACT for the state festival. And that's a wonderful experience for actors and directors because these are people that have been doing this maybe on the community theater level, but in a lot of places, that's pretty professional. But they've been doing this for years, and their input is really valuable. I really enjoyed listening to the adjudications at the last festival. I didn't participate as a performer or a director, but I watched all the performances. And after each one, the 3 adjudicators came up on the stage, and they were very positive, but they were very constructive in their comments. And if you paid attention, you could learn a lot.
Feedback is really good for these types of...
It really is.
For the arts in general. And so you did a lot of... You said you did a lot of directing.
Yes.
Previously, which in my opinion, that's a very good experience for people to have just in life, and to be able to go into community theaters and take that role, without necessarily, like you said, it's good to have that to assistant direct experience, but you can go into a community theater rather than a theater where they're paying, and you can get that experience. You can learn how to. It's kind of like a foot in the door.
And you learn with every show. I mean, I still learn something new with every show. I've never used projections, and I'm hoping that one of the shows I'm involved with will be able to do that instead of building sets, just projecting.
Oh, on the background,
yeah,
like on a scrim.
Yeah, that's cool. The newest thing. That they did a lot of that in Jersey Boys. And what other one did I recently see? Oh, no, Mamma Mia didn't. But we're hoping to be able to use it maybe for Music Week next year. I'm assistant directing Jonathan Perry in Music Week, Boise Music Week, over at the Morrison Center.
Have you directed anything here in Idaho yet?
I directed one show, a non-musical, which they're just not my favorite.
Well, what's your favorite musical you've directed?
Oh my gosh, Les Mis.
Oh, and was that in California?
Yes, it was. We had 80 people in it.
That's kind of
And the voices were amazing. It was... We had standing ovations and tears every performance. It was great.
That's a lot of people to be responsible for.
It is. It's
That's
like
a lot of cues.
A traffic cop, Okay, you guys are coming on here, so you have to come in this way. And yeah. So there's a lot of that you have to know when you're directing, as well as acting, coaching. You have to know, you have to make it make sense with the blocking. If you went off stage on one side and then you're coming right back in, you need to come through the same door, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you go, wait, how did they get over there?
It's almost like continuity errors in film that I have to deal with all the time.
Right.
Yeah, it's if you set this glass down on this side, make sure that you pick it, when we take the next take, it needs to be over there.
Exactly. Yeah. I need a drink.
You go for it. All the chatting, it definitely makes me feel a little parched from time to time.
Anyway, I'm hoping that we're going to get. We put our GoFundMe on Facebook and raised over $1,000.
Cool.
Within like 5 minutes. Now, we haven't gained any more since then. So
it's one of those things you got to you tell all of your friends and family on their birthdays on Facebook they need to link to your
I know
donation.
I missed my birthday. Maybe I'll do it for my mother's birthday. She's going to be 97 next month. Maybe I'll tell people if you want to wish her. I don't know if she'll appreciate that.
Well, it's on social media. I don't think you just force it on her.
Believe it or not, she's on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
At 97.
Right on.
Pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're hoping that we'll make enough to cover all the costs of the festival and our rent for the Actors Forum. Then September of next year, I'm reserving a date now at the Sapphire Room so that we can have our cabaret again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I appreciate everything that you're doing for Idaho Community Theater. And it's exciting that it's going to be that opportunity to get a community theater onto the national stage, hopefully, if they win regional. Is that correct? After this?
Then they go to the national. And actually
is there money involved if they win a prize there, or how does that work?
I think it's bragging rights.
Okay.
But they also have, AACT has a play festival every year, new plays. And last year, Boise Little Theater presented one of the shows that had won at AACT. And it was really funny. And we did have a workshop, per se, for that we funded IACT. The playwright came in, because he loves coming to see his plays in different states. The playwright came in and he did a monologue workshop for us at the Actors Forum. It was all monologues that night, and he critiqued us afterwards, and that was really, really good. And then he did a playwriting workshop, giving would-be playwrights information on how to start, and some of the little tricks that you might need to do, like he used his daughter's name on something that he submitted for television because they're very ageist. And if you looked up his daughter, she was, in her 30s.
Oh,
so
wow.
she was okay. And so it actually did get produced. If he in his 50s or 60s had submitted that, it wouldn't have.
Interesting.
Yes.
It's not one of those things that you think about.
No, but yeah. Even you say writers, what difference does it make? You don't see them. But I guess they think if you're older, you can't think in a way that would please younger people. I don't know. But anyway, it was really great that we had him do the workshop for us. And then he did a talk back after one of the performances of his show with the audience. So that was another thing that IACT did.
Oh, cool.
This last year.
It's interesting to get the writers involved in that. And that's something that's
he was a sweet
overlooked
man.
A lot.
Is
the writing aspect of these. I mean, I guess it's not overlooked a ton because you can think of famous playwrights, but that's cool that you're bringing this into the community. And so you're going to be having additional trainings.
Yes,
for sure, acting, and then voice work.
And hopefully
workshops,
directing.
And then hopefully some directing. And you said some people that you're going to try to bring in from outside of the state. And that's good. It sounds like it's worth the fee.
Right. And if you're right now, I think we're charging $25 if you're a member of IACT to go to the newest ones, and then $30 if you're not.
Oh, okay. Good.
Because there's material fees involved. And
it pays for itself if you're a theater.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Yeah, it does. You can, and we used to have a saying in real estate, you're either green and growing or ripe and rotting. You never know everything. You got to just keep growing and keep learning.
Yeah. Rolling stone gathers no moss.
Right.
I guess that's another one.
Another one, yeah.
Cool. Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Patti, for coming in and
thank you for having me
and chatting today. I'll make sure that all of this information all the contact information and ways to donate gets put on treasurevalleypodcast.com, and we'll throw it up on Facebook as well.
Okay.
And keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you helping out the community.
You too. You keep doing what you're doing.
I shall.
Thank you.
Yeah.